Shut up and sit down.
What is up, YouTube? This is another episode of Whiskey Untitled. My name is Sniff from Scotch and Sniff, and over here...
Yeah, you got it right. And this is the Tricky Caveman, a.k.a. the Caveman. We're going to try to change a bit of format, so we're going to go straight into what today's topic is. So your first real bottle of whiskey is what we're going to get into. But before that, our segment is What's in Your Glass?
Oh, what's in your glass? Fancy.
Yeah. So
what is in your glass?
My glass. All right. So today I have the barrel bourbon, batch number 11. Oh. So I know you had a post of a single barrel batch. This is the batch to get if you can get your hands on it still. Sadly, they're now on batch 12, so batch 11 is basically gone.
Shouldn't 12 also be good?
No, so the 12 is, I think it's a 9 or a 12-year-old. This one's a 6-year-old. So like you mentioned in the last episode, age doesn't matter that much. But
where's the juice from?
MGP, I think, still.
Oh, is it really? Oh, yep. So it could be anything.
Distilled in Tennessee, so it could be anything.
Oh, Tennessee, even more interesting. So that's not MGP. MGP's in Indiana.
So I knew they were sourcing from Indiana before, but I guess they changed it. But
that's weird.
The one thing that, and this won awards, and everyone knows, so that's why it's highly coveted and stuff. But the one thing that I'm gonna miss when this bottle is gone, so this is basically just samples and me drinking it, is that this thing tastes like Nutella on toast. And by God, if you don't like Nutella, please turn off the channel right now, because holy bejeebies, Nutella in a whiskey is just heaven sent. It's amazing.
Everybody loves Nutella.
All right, enough about me. What
hazelnut chocolate?
What's in your glass, Sniff?
In this glass, right here, is some of this.
Oh, you're making me jealous, my friend. I would love a bottle like that.
Sorry, it's not my first bottle. It's all right.
See, I have the 12 sitting right back there. I got a sample of the 17 from another Instagram guy, but like the 21 is the one that I'm trying to find, and it's just, when I find it, it's just too expensive. Like, I bought my Hibikis when they were like $70, man, and no one cared about them.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was into that Japanese game.
No, these are $400 a bottle.
I know. Like, what, Hibiki now is 100 to 150 resale market. The 17's now, what, 250?
Yeah.
You know?
And the 21's 400.
I was, the heyday, I was like, yeah, this is easy. It was on the shelf all the time. And then now you got people going, I need everything Japanese.
The 21's 400, but it's worth it. If it was 300, I would buy it all the time.
And that's a problem, right?
Like, it's that good.
Yeah, and like, if someone told me, like, because it's one of my like bottles that I want to have, maybe by the end of the year, I don't know. But like $400, I'm like, is it worth $400? And then when I hear people like you, just like, oh, dude, it's worth it. I'm like, oh, don't say that. Say it's the worst thing in the world. It's worth it if your palate is okay with it. Yeah. That's the thing. So I don't like smoke, but it's smoky, and it does it well because it's such a balanced blend. But the Japanese are known for that, though. That's what they do. No, that's true. And the way it is, it just... Sadly, I love the 12. People said, dude, if you love the 12, you'll love the 17. And then people that love 17, like, if you love the 17, you'll love the 21. And I'm like... Yeah, the 21's got strawberries, though. I don't have money flying around everywhere. You know, I don't make money off YouTube. Best. It doesn't happen. So... I don't have... So it's like, hey... I just don't have a wife and kids. Yeah, that's true. But hey, if anyone wants to send me a bottle of 21, I am more than happy to receive it. Even if it's got a little bit left, I don't care. Don't say that. Every time I've ever said that on YouTube, like on the Scotch and Sniff channel, every time I've ever said like, hey, send us this, I find it a week later in a store, and there I am buying it. So be careful when you say that. Sorry, here goes $400. But it's one of my dream bottles. And I to be honest, I've always wanted to get one of those Mount Fuji or the classy looking ones. Oh, the special editions. Yeah. Awesome. Good luck with that. You spend grand. Yeah, a friend of mine just got he got a 21, and it was about $600 with the Mount Fuji. Ooh, overpaid. The Mount Fuji one? Oh, for the Mount Fuji, that's fine. It was a bit more, and I think he got that at retail at the airport. So,
I mean, they have a special edition 35 right now in Master Malt for like $4,000.
Yeah, sure. Let me get my credit card out and pay $4,000 for a bottle. Yeah, my wife would love that.
No thanks. Why doesn't the baby have diapers?
I know, right? Sorry, just drinking something and then pissing it out. Usually the excuse she gives me. Alrighty. So for me, promo wise, I basically got these books here. I'm not still 50-50 about trying to pass them off, but if you guys are interested, around $10 shipped. Basically a catalog of where you guys can keep your notes. So.
Oh, I am working on something.
So,
I can't talk about it though.
Wow, thanks for telling everybody. Now everyone's gonna be like, "What's he working on?"
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing what I'm working on. Actually, there was a hint in a picture on the Scotch and Sniff Instagram within the last 3 weeks, but I can't say what it was.
Gonna be like, I'll dig it out, but now I'm not going to.
I can't say what it's. That's good stuff. Oh wait, what we're supposed to be talking about the topic of the day.
Yep. So let's jump into the topic of the day. So before the show, we kind of decided what bottle started off for you. So just a real caveat, it's your first real bottle of whiskey. So we're not talking about your whiskey and cokes. So we're not talking about your mixers or anything like that.
Crown and Coke.
Most people I know is either started with a Jack and Coke or something like that, right? Some whiskey and Coke.
Jack's not.
So I know where I'm from. That was the thing. It was Jack and Coke all the time, and eventually you're just like, So
it's funny. You say that. I remember the first time I had Jack Daniels. I was like, it's like a chicken strip in every sip because of going to Fridays too much. Jack Daniels chicken strips there? They were so good.
The Jack Daniels sauce on Fridays.
The Jack Daniels chicken strips were legit.
I think I had the Jack Daniels burger. I think that was my favorite. Or the ribs.
That's back when Fridays was like a thing.
Showing our age.
Now there's only Chipotle.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Sniff, what was your first real bottle of whiskey?
I have it here. I would say, if we're talking real bottles. Yeah. So this is actually it. This is the real physical first bottle I ever had. It's empty, as you can see, and it's been replaced since then because everybody should have some Macallan.
So you started with a Macallan 15.
Yeah, I was spoiled.
Wow, that's not it.
Somebody introduced it to me, and I was like, "Well, I'll try this." They gave me the bottle, and I was like, "Well, I'll give it a shot." No pun intended.
Huh. Okay, so
and that's where I learned to drink whiskey.
Did you sip it? Did you shot it? Like you said, what did you do? Like
in the beginning, everything was 6,000% neat. Okay. Everything was neat, constantly, all the time. But I've learned since then. I mean, it's your whiskey. Drink it how you want. I'm not a huge fan of ice. I still drink all of my whiskey neat. First pour out of the bottle. Second pour out of the bottle. But sometimes I do something crazy and make a cocktail or old fashioned or something like that with it, just to see how it goes. Okay. Like most of the Macallan line, not the Macallan Fine Oak line, which is really more woody, but the rest of the Macallan line that's more orangey is very, very amazing for old fashions. You can skip the orange bitters and go straight to regular Angostura bitters.
Okay. So what was the Fine Oak series that you started off with then?
It was the 15 Fine Oak.
Man.
Yeah. Wow. So, yeah. Triple cask, as it were, which they're going to change the name too soon anyways.
For me, I'm just like, what does Fine Oak mean, man?
No, they're going to change the name to triple cask, just like what they did with the 12 double cask release that they had this year. They're changing all their Fine Oak bottles. So if you have Fine Oak bottles, they're going to be collectible eventually.
Maybe the higher end ones, but I don't know about the 15 or the 12 or something like that, or the 10.
Not the 12 or the 10. Not the 10.
I didn't like the 10. No, thank you.
The 10 is for mixing only.
What's sad is the 10 is what I judged Macallan's on, and that's very bad for me to do that. But I was just like, this is what people like of Macallan? This is garbage. So
yeah, no, that's not the way to get into it.
Then again, it moved me to Balvenie, so there you go. All right, so for my first real bottle of whiskey was also a Scotch. It is the Johnny Walker Blue Label. So this is what I started off with as my first real bottle. As I mentioned before, Jack Daniels was kind of the thing, Jack and Coke and all that. And then once in a blue moon, my dad would be like, hey, try this and stuff like that. Or let's sit down and talk or whatever. One of those father-son bonding moments. And then it was usually accompanied by a Blue Label. Which...
JWB, solid. Sometimes. It's so
this bottle I have here is from the 90s. The ones I was drinking is definitely from like the 80s and stuff. So there's a bit of a variance between that. Nothing crazy like Macallan's 18s and onwards. It's not like that. But yeah, it was basically $100 bottle at the time. So it's around what
Wow.
$250 right now.
It's $200. Well, 170 at Costco,
Yeah.
but yeah, $200.
So it definitely like made me say like no offense if any of you guys are Blue Label fans, but it's not worth $200, man. $150 maybe, but
it depends on the batch you get. It really does.
Yeah.
I had one that tasted like French vanilla ice cream the whole time, and it was amazing. I had another one that tasted like smoke and ashtray and tobacco.
But I don't remember vanilla. I remember smoke, but nothing crazy.
I mean, they're pulling from 4 corners of Scotland, so from 4 regions.
Yeah, no, that was in Asia. It was everyone at Christmas time. If you were a high-end executive or you're a businessman, everyone gave you a blue bottle, a Blue Label. That was kind of the gift. It showed that they cared about the person, that they want to build that relationship. So it definitely had a connotation in the Asian market anyway. So every time I went back from university to see my dad and my family, I always brought a bottle of Blue Label. Or if I was lucky enough and I did well during college and get that extra dough, I'll pop off a bottle of King George Blue Label. So
Okay.
a little fancier bottle. At that time, it was like 150 maybe. It wasn't too bad. What's it now? Like what?
Yeah.
200 to 300?
It's significantly more expensive, yeah.
It was a beautiful bottle too. It came down, just give my dad, hey, have this. I know you like Blue Label, and then boom. But that was my first real bottle of Scotch. And people say, hey, dude, it's $200 bottle. I'm like, no, back in the day, that was your high end. That was your Pappy at that time. That was your, what would be like your Michter's 10 now or your Hibiki 21.
Michter's 10.
People like it high. Fine, Michter's 20. How about that?
Michter's 10 is cucumber juice. Michter's 20 is over oaked.
It's a high end bottle.
I'm talking just about 2016.
Okay.
I have the 10 in my room, and I'm telling you, it's cucumber juice. I took it to a tasting, and I asked a bunch of friends.
It doesn't taste like cucumber juice.
The 2016 is definitely cucumber juice. And the 2016-20 was... I had to be 100% honest with like the master distiller, and I was like, dude, this is not good.
So to the person I traded with for a 2016, what do you call it, Michter's Barrel Bourbon, I'm sorry that you had cucumber juice in yours. Because I actually did that today. I actually helped a friend out. Traded a Michter's 10 for a Weller 12 and an Elmer Tealy.
Wow.
Not my trade.
Well, I guess it depends on where you are.
Not my trade. I was just facilitating.
In some areas, that's wildly imbalanced.
Dude, the Weller 12 is like resale value 150 and shit like that. But then you can buy it for what, $40, $50?
I just go off of buy it. That's the thing, is I go off of buy it prices. Like I had a 2016 Old Forester birthday bourbon. I traded it to some guy for Yamazaki 12. He was in heaven, but I was in heaven. I only paid $60 for it at Costco. So I mean, like, to me, it was worth it because I like the Yama 12.
We'll take it offline, man. But if you find a birthday bourbon,
I don't like it.
All right. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm looking for a 2016 birthday bourbon. It's for just my personal, because my daughter was born in 2016, so that's why I want it. But
oh, wow.
Some bottles I have doubles of just because it means something really stupid. But to me,
you need to go get a 2016 version of the Mac 18 then. I mean, it'll be 2034, but
and to be honest,
it'll be worth it.
I don't know if my daughter would like whiskey. I hope she does. But like, I would love to open one of those bottles. Say, hey, you were born in this year. This is when it was bottled.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people do that, which is kind of interesting. So I didn't realize that was a thing. So yeah.
There's an Instagrammer actually I saw the other day. He got custom boxes made for Bal Blair bottles for his sons, and like they were gorgeous boxes. It's ridiculous. I liked all his pictures.
I like all. Isn't that weird that you see people that just like, hey, and just hit all your stuff up?
Yeah. Sometimes then you're like, this is weird. But, I mean, they just do the same thing that anybody would do. I mean, if you see a bunch of pictures in a row that are awesome, like, scroll through and like.
Yeah, and Scotch Niff does have some awesome photos. He's cheating a little bit because he's a photographer.
Hey, I've disclosed that multiple times when people wonder about the pictures.
I'm just like, I'm taking photos on my cell phone. I'm like, oh, this is a great angle. And then I see this stuff. I'm like.
So when it first started, that was the challenge. I was like, no cameras, only pictures with the iPhone. So if you scroll back, all of the pictures, I mean, the first 2 years, all of the pictures are iPhone. And a lot of people couldn't believe it. Ooh. And so my brother started shooting with an X100 Fuji, and then it was downhill from there. I was like, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to break out the camera.
I don't,
And here we are.
there's some shots I did with a cell phone. I think my first probably 20 or so shots was a camera, and then editing just got. I'm like, it's too much time, man. I'm just gonna take a. And I see people with like, what's it, one of those handy photos or whatever, with a lot of people hold their, their bottle in their hand, kind of stuff. I'm like, that looks cool. I'll do that for a while. And I don't know, man. Some people are just like, holy shit, like what, Scotch Trooper and stuff like that with these fancy photos and your fancy photos and Whiskey Nate with
he shoots a Nikon D3300. Actually, I helped him out with the lighting that we did at that McAllen event.
I'm just like, what?
I was like, hey, you shoot Nikon?
Best buds.
No, well, I was just like, here, you can use this trigger. I set up his flash for him and got the light going, so he was good to go.
No, I think it's cheating, but then again, it's just because I'm jealous. Just be honest. So.
All you have to do is spend $5,000.
Yeah.
Body's about $2,000. Lens about $2,500.
Yeah, I'd rather buy McAllen M or something with that money, or maybe I have Bicky 21 because that's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
I'm telling you, the M was a letdown.
So we have another segment, bottle of the day or bottle of the week, whatever you want to do it. Yeah. What's the bottle that you want to feature? I know I have one here. What do you got?
I wanted to feature a bottle. So we were talking earlier before about beginners and how people got into Scotch and getting into Scotch. And a lot of people, like I was saying, like they were looking for bottles that are under $100, preferably under 50, that taste great, but they just need ways to taste them. Okay. So shameless self promo.
Yeah, go for it.
On the Scotch and Sniff page, like we go through the process of CNPF, color, nose, palate, finish for whiskeys. But one of the best whiskeys you can get under $50 is the Glenfiddich 12. Ooh. So if you're looking to get into Scotch, but you're not an old white guy with millions of dollars, Glenfiddich 12 is a great way to get into it for about $45. You can get Glenfiddich 12. This is last year they redesigned, so you'll get a newer looking bottle. But it's awesome if you love floral notes and sweet notes. So you'll get apple, pear, and then you'll get flowers, and it just comes together in this wonderful melt. It's really good.
And then I'm guessing since Glenfiddich has like what, a 15-year-old and up, right, 18 and so on.
Yep.
Is what's the palate that sticks with, like, what is Glenfiddich known for? For like a novice.
I mean, they're known for being the number one selling brands in the world, but it's because the number 12. This is their jams.
So like flavor-wise.
Oh, it's going to be apples and pears.
Okay, so
apples and pears are like their jams until you get to the 26. Then everything changes. Then it becomes about barley, and it becomes about maybe the sherry cask they use, depending on the age, because some of the older ones are all completely sherried. So
if someone goes into, like, let's say likes the 12, right? You recommended the 12 as a great beginner stuff, and then they're like, hey, what should I go up to next? You probably think the 15 if you like that flavoring.
If you really, so a beginner won't be able to discern that apple and pear across their line, gotcha. Unfortunately. Okay. Like that's just the way it is. Once you've tried a couple hundred whiskeys, by all means, you can totally do that. But in the beginning, you're really looking for things that are palate friendly. Okay. So unless you're into peated things like Colila or whatnot, I always recommend people go to like Glenfiddich, Glenmorangie, Dalmore. These are all very friendly flavors. Chocolate,
and would you just
sweet.
Try their 12-year basic kind of thing, or what would you? Is that what you?
Yeah, Glenmorangie, their 10 is the basic, but their 12 Nectar d'Or sells off the shelves like crazy. That's their jams. For $75, you're getting something that's been finished in Sauternes casks. So if you're into French dessert wines, you probably already know Sauternes has had multiple 100s across the board for wine tastings. Yeah. That's what they're known for. So
awesome. No, that's great. You gave them the key core one, and then you gave them multiple ones. So no, I think that's great. Like especially if you're a newcomer, not understanding the world of Scotch, because you're like, it's too complex for me, or it's an old man's type game, or it's somewhere that has a lot of money. No, it's actually, hey, it can be for everyone. Awesome.
Yeah.
So jumping over to the bourbon side, for me, Blanton's is something. I know that's not a beginner, but it's something that's definitely a beginner intermediate because it's so easy drinking.
I think of all bourbons as beginner.
Certain ones, yes.
You'll graduate to Scotch, maybe, I promise.
Maybe. But no, Blanton's. I give it two factors, right? It's very easy drinking, and it has a bit of a coolness factor. Like you have
the bottle
shape, which is very, very unique, right? So you got the bottle shape that's very unique. Then you got like the little horsey that you
collectible toppers,
which is kind of cool. It definitely stands out in the bar. I always have the joke that it looks like a little grenade, but and it's single barrel. So basically, there's a batch here. It says warehouse number H, blah blah blah, Rick House. It's all these little cool tidbits that you can have where you can be sitting there and be like, wow, I can sit down, read this, see where it's from, compare it. They're basically pretty much the same. And yeah, just at bottle number 180. It's kind of cool, collectible, put on your shelf kind of thing. And just sticks.
And easy to find for like $60.
$60. What was yours? $40. So it's around the same, right? Bourbon. It's something very easy for people. And then if you want to go into certain things, you got right now a lot of people are going higher proof. So just a bit of advice, you want to stick around the 40 to 46 proof. So you're gonna see the proof on the bottle. So you find it here. So you have to have a proof. Sorry, there you go. So proof would be 93. This would be 46. Alcohol by volume. If that focuses in. So you want to stick around that 43 to 46 to 8. Just good
challenge.
Yeah, just because once you get to that. Okay, all right, fine. What's the challenge? Go for it.
So it just has to be 40 to be whiskey, but like it can be anywhere.
No, it can.
Only in the bourbon world do people seem to really emphasize like, oh my gosh, I have to have Elijah Craig barrel proof. Like you have to have like crazy proofs, but in the Scotch world, it's proven over and over again, like 50-60%, but drinkable. Yeah. Like you literally can't taste alcohol at all in it. Like it's totally doable.
And that's kind of where I'm saying, like, if you're a beginner, try and stick around that 40 range, because once you get to that 50 range, you're going to be like, this is too hot. I don't like whiskeys. And
it depends on the whiskey.
Scotches, how about that? Scotches, you can do it. Bourbons, man, trust me, bourbons, when they get to a certain point where it's just way too hot for people.
I'm trying to think of some bottled and bond bourbons that I know that are like really smooth, that have no burn. Like Pappy's immediately comes to mind. I hate to say it. Pappy's 23 is 49.
But no one's going to spend a Pappy for the first bottle.
It is 47.8%, which is almost 50%, and it literally is like it has no burn to it at all, as opposed to the 15 this year.
So if
the 15 is
if your
crazy
first
hot.
bottle of bourbon is a Pappy Van Winkle 23, please invite me to your house, because there's no way that's going to be your first bottle.
Maybe for some people, you never know. My first cigar was crazy. Like my first cigar was a $40 cigar.
Give it to you, though.
Because everybody kept. No, I bought it because everybody was like, because I jump into things the wrong way. Yeah. And so everybody was like, you got to try Davidoff. You got to try Davidoff. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
But yeah, so.
And I bought this.
Yeah, just if you're looking for bottles, try and stick around. I know Sniff says something different, but try and stick around the 40 to 46 just because I don't want you to burn your throat. That's all. Now, if you want to do that and you want to jump over the end or you want to go to Heavy Pete, by all means, do what you want. You can do whatever. But if you're just a beginner and starting out, I think that Glenfiddich 12-year-old is a great recommendation. What else would you got? You got Elijah Craig, that's decent. You got some of the cheaper bottles. Bourbon's a bit hard.
If I had a big bourbon?
Yeah, go for it. Let's.
Oh, it'd be Weeders.
Oh,
but okay. I'm super biased. I love their flavor, like Larceny. Larceny tastes awesome to me.
Larceny is a good starter, and it's not that expensive.
But it seems to be, it's really, really polarizing in the bourbon world, though.
I feel as though that with some people in the bourbon world, they're like, no, I want to hit the heat. I want to get punched in the face. I want to feel that burn. But other people are like, I just want something that tastes good. And usually a Weeder is a very good entryway because it's a lot sweeter. So if you guys don't know, a Weeder is basically a bourbon that after corn is wheat. So you got your rye as your secondary, you got your wheat as secondary, you get barley as your secondary, and basically corn. So OJ's here and he says Eagle Rare. No, Eagle Rare is great. The 10-year.
No, Eagle Rare is a solid $30 bottle. Oh my gosh!
Thanks for chiming in, man. Yeah, no, Eagle Rare. There is one problem though. I have 3 bottles of Eagle Rare. 2 of them are store picks. One store pick I had, it was like licking the side of a tree. And people say, hey, that Eagle Rare does that. You have to open it up, bro. This has been opened up for a year, man. I don't know what you're talking about. All right? I'm like, if someone says I never tasted wood before, here's an Eagle Rare 10-year store pick. Go on licking the pieces of wood. So.
Oh, so really, really weird trick. Remember I was telling you before. Every whiskey that I buy, I try it neat and then add water later just to see what it's like. Pappy Van Winkle 23. Like if you add water, it turns into a piece of wood. It's horrible. If you don't add water, it's amazing.
In my head, I'm like, who's gonna add water to a 23-year-old? Like, dude.
But somebody will. Somebody will do it. How many of these people? I want to look rich. I'm gonna pour it over some ice, and then all of a sudden they have it on ice, and it's horrible because the water is getting diluted, and I don't know. It turns it into this horrible oak monster.
Yeah, here's my $2,000 ice machine. And here's my golden cup, and now I'm gonna put okay. In my head, I'm like,
I do love those $600 ice makers though.
Some guy hit me up on Instagram, so If you want to,
Those ice ball makers are hot.
dude, this one looks sick. Oh, it's like $400 though. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. I want to buy a bottle instead. But that
a $400 bottle like this.
People, why did I say yes to this YouTube channel?
Shut up and sit down.